Hello, I am Mystic Orange and you're listening to Talk in the Shadows. This is video hashtag 339. In this video, I'm going to review a show called Third Bird. But before we get into this video, make sure to like, share and subscribe. Help me reach 500 subscribers. If I reach 500 subscribers, I'm get to be monetized. And you'd able to get more content from me. Make sure to check out my previous video. It's where I reviewed the Scooby-Doo show. I will link the video in the description. And if you haven't yet, make sure to check out my video where I reached 300 subscribers. I will also put it in my community tab and on my descriptions. So let's get into this video. I'm so excited to talk about Third Bird. So the past 3 days, I've been watching Third Bird. I would say it was a fun experience, but I would be lying to you if I said it was. It wasn't a fun experience at all. Where to watch Third Bird is on Dailymotion. It's the same place where I watched The Two Stupid Dogs. It's the best place to watch Third Bird. I do wish it was on YouTube though, because it would have been a fun experience. Dailymotion, however, hasn't given me a fun experience at all. So many buffering and technical errors. Dailymotion has been around since 2005. So it has been a long time, just as YouTube was. So you'd think this service would have great quality. Unfortunately, Dailymotion doesn't have this great quality. So what is Third Bird about? Well, Third Bird is a kids show about birds. It's kind of similar to 44 Cats, where it's aimed at younger kids. Well, Third Bird is named after the neighborhood where the birds live. But we do get other animal characters like a worm, a mouse or a pig. But what I do think I like about this show more than I do about 44 Cats is that there are no humans, so I think this does a better job than 44 Cats. So this show is about birds, so we don't need any humans. So how did I get into Third Bird? I have to be honest, I wasn't really into Third Bird when it was around. It would be on CBeebies. It's the same place where you'd watch shows like 64 Zoo Lane or Charlie and Lola. CBeebies is well known across the UK. I mean, I would watch it casually, but that's about it. I would watch it if it's on or if I'm waiting for another show or something. By the way, I highly recommend shows like Charlie and Lola or Tinga Tinga Tales. Those were my fun childhood shows. The next thing I want to talk about from Third Bird is the art style. Bear in mind that I'm not an expert on art styles, so I wouldn't able to tell you what art medium is used. My best guess is that they use pencil crayon to color in. In my opinion, you can see the effort is used in this art style. So the art style is really beautiful. I would give it 10 out of 10. The next thing I want to talk about from Third Bird is the animation style. According to the Wikipedia page, the Third Bird uses photo puppetry as its animation style. They did this by using Adobe After Effects. You can find more about the animation style in the Wikipedia page of Third Bird. I will link it in the description. While I would give the art style 10 out of 10, I wouldn't say the same thing for the animation style. I just don't think photo puppetry works for the show. I do think the animation style is one of the reasons why I was hooked on it when I was a kid. The next thing I want to talk about is the title of Third Bird. Like I said before, Third Bird is named after the neighborhood they live in. And the show does consist of 3 main characters. The main characters are Samuel, Muffin and Rudy. I do, however, think they could have come up with a better title. Think of shows like Sesame Street or EastEnders, both shows named after the place they live in. The next thing I want to talk about is the theme song of Third and Bird. I personally do prefer a theme song with lyrics in, and this show does have a theme song with lyrics in, so I will give points to that. Unlike shows like Two Stupid Dogs where there is no lyrics. But I would say the theme song is rather too short. But I can see why when the episode is like 10 minutes long. The singing though, however, reminds me of 44 Cats, where the singers are like little kids. I do think it works for the show as it's aimed for little kids. But I can think of other shows from CBeebies where the theme songs are better, like 64 Zoo Lane. By the way, I highly recommend watching 64 Zoo Lane. Anyways, I will link the theme song in the description. The next thing I want to talk about is the messages that this show teaches. I do think this show does a great job at teaching kids important lessons. Things like conflict resolutions or arguments. And most importantly, I think it teaches about being different and being okay with it. I think that's a really good important message. Especially in today's age where people are discriminated because they are different. I do think it's important for kids to learn that it's okay to be different because as they grow up they may learn this to be empathetic of other people. The next thing I want to talk about are the episodes of the Third and Bird. Third and Bird only has 2 seasons and each of them have 26 episodes. They also have a Christmas special in the first season. Overall, I do think Third and Bird is pretty average for a show. It's not like 44 Cats where it's a bit more engaging, but I can see it being like a chill vibe for a show. I do, however, think the interaction with the characters are rather cute. The next thing I want to talk about are the characters from Third and Bird. There are 38 characters of Third and Bird. 3 of them are main characters. We have 8 supporting characters, and the rest of them are just one-off characters. The first character that I want to talk about from Third and Bird is Samuel. Samuel is the main protagonist of Third and Bird. I do like Samuel. He reminds me of Lincoln Loud from Loud House. He's chill, empathetic, and responsible. He gives us a strong INFJ, ISFJ personality. I've never had an issue with Samuel in the show. He's pretty relatable and a chill guy. The next main character from Third and Bird is Rudy. Rudy is best friend of Samuel. Despite being best friends, Samuel and Rudy are polar opposites. While Samuel is more introverted and mellow, Rudy is more extroverted and energetic. She craves for fun, excitement, and action. She gives us a strong ESTP, ESFP personality. While I don't relate to Rudy, I do like her. She does make things fun. The last main character is Muffin. Muffin is Samuel's younger sister. She gives us a strong ENFP personality. She's a bit like Pinkie Pie from My Little Pony or Lola from Charlie and Lola. But unlike those two, I don't like Muffin. She can be bratty and rude to others. She also thinks she is cute, but she isn't. I do have an issue with Muffin though. Remember the main message that I talked about that this show teaches? About how it's okay to be different. Well, Muffin is the one that has to learn that. In the show, Muffin was incredibly rude towards Elliot just for being a worm. If this was applied to the real world, Muffin would be regarded as racist. I do think the episode where Elliot is introduced, it's kind of like an allegory for racism. She was so rude to Elliot for no reason. But this isn't the only time when she was rude and bratty. The show tries its hardest to portray Muffin as sweet and cute, but I don't think she's either of those things. First of all, I don't like Muffin's dance. I think she's trying too hard to look cute, but she is not. When baby Jordan was introduced, she was incredibly rude towards him. She was so jealous of him because he had all the attention, and she thought she was cuter than baby Jordan. But honey, he was cuter before he was introduced. Do you know why? Because every end credit you'll have characters making a dance. Before he was introduced, Jordan would dance, and I would think his dance would be cuter than Muffin's. So I naturally thought Baby Jordan was much more cuter than Muffin. Maybe I will link the end credit in the description or community tab. Since I've already mentioned Elliot, he's the next character that I want to talk about. While majority of the character are birds, he is a worm. It's kind of like 44 Cats, where majority of the characters are cats, and sometimes we'll have a dog as a character. It's nice to have characters like Elliot, because even though it's a show about birds, we do have other animals. For the most part, I do like Elliot. He is polite and kind. Elliot does have other family members, like his relatives. We get introduced to Elliot's uncle and cousins, who are nice, but they don't have much of a personality. But then we have Aunt Esther, who is a blue worm. I think Aunt Esther is worse than Muffin. She gives me a strong Karen energy, and she's also racist towards birds. Elliot's relatives only show up in one episode. The next character we have from Third and Bird is Baby Jordan's uncle, Mr. Beakman. He is the teacher of Third and Bird. I think he might be an INTP or ENTP. He is wise and gives a good advice to the kids. But he can have a big ego sometimes. He reminds me of Owl from Winnie the Pooh. I think he has a rivalry with Samuel's father. He does give passive aggressive jabs at Samuel's father. It's implied in the show that Mr. Beakman and Samuel's father were in the same school. When they were kids, Mr. Beakman and Samuel's father would take part in competitions. And since I've mentioned Samuel's father, I will talk about him next. He is first introduced in season 2. He works as a caretaker of the tree of Third and Bird. I do like Samuel's father. I think he's a really good father to Muffin and Samuel. He presents himself as calm and patient, which I do respect, despite Mr. Beakman being rude. Then we have Samuel's mother. Even though she shows up at season 1, she's less interesting than Samuel's father. While she is a nice mother, she doesn't have much of a personality. She does remind me of Rita Loud from The Loud House, but at least Rita Loud has a personality. The next character we have is Missy. She is a French bird who likes fashion. I do like her, she is nice. She does show up in most episodes. However, we do have one episode dedicated to her. It's where her house goes through a storm. The show tries to imply that Missy is rude because she refers to the kids as little birds, but I do not see that whatsoever. I think she's a really pleasant person. The next character we have is Mrs. Billingsley. She is the oldest bird in the show who likes to garden. Mrs. Billingsley is a sweet old bird who acts as a matriarch of the Third and Bird. There is an episode dedicated to Mrs. Billingsley, which I do think is sad. I think Mrs. Billingsley represents herself as a disabled character. While she is an old bird, she is also a kiwi bird, which means she can't fly. So even as a kid, she wasn't able to fly. It was always her dream to see shooting stars as a kid, but she wasn't able to see one. The only way to see shooting stars is to climb up on top of a hill. And as old as Mrs. Billingsley was, she wouldn't be able to climb over the hill. But the sweetest thing happened in this episode where Samuel and the other birds offered to help Mrs. Billingsley to climb up top of the hill using a wheelbarrow. I think the wheelbarrow kind of an allegory to wheelchair. So overall, I do like Mrs. Billingsley and her story. The next character from Third Bird is Quinn. Quinn is Samuel's and Rudy's friend. I think he might be an INTP or an ISTP. He is the inventor of the group and fixes things. He is also pretty smart as he can build a robot. I do like Quinn though. I never had an issue with Quinn. We do have other one-off characters like the Grand Budgie. The Grand Budgie only appears in one episode. I think the Grand Budgie is an allegory to a politician or a prime minister. I don't like the Grand Budgie because he set up a rule that only birds can be budgies. Elliot did want to be a budgie, but the Grand Budgie was quick to dismiss him. Eventually, Elliot did manage to be a budgie. I do think this episode is important because it does teach kids how politics works. And it does show how politics can be discriminatory in real life. The next one-off character we have from the Third Bird is Squeaky the Mouse. Squeaky the Mouse only appears in the Christmas special. I do think the Christmas special is probably my favorite episode of Third Bird. I highly recommend you to watch it. I will link the episode in my description and maybe in the community tab. We have 3 more characters to talk about, and the next character we're going to talk about is Ben the Pig. His storyline is similar to Elliot the Worm. In his storyline, you also have to learn to accept being different and not judge others. But unlike Muffin, who was actually nice to Ben the Pig, the others were pretty judgmental towards Ben. I think it's pretty hypocritical of the other characters to judge Ben when they were kind of salty towards Muffin when she was racist towards Elliot. Not only do I think it's hypocritical, but I think it's a bad writing. For this instance, I would defend Muffin here. I'm kind of disappointed on characters like Samuel, who was supportive of Elliot. I also think it's out of character for some of them. Like for example, Rudy wasn't okay with Ben being dirty or messy, but except she's basically dirty and messy all the time. Like she had a beef with Samuel at one episode because she prefers her house being messy. And Ben wasn't even messy or dirty. But I think Mr. Beakman was the worst part on being judgmental towards Ben the Pig. He should have known better. I do understand that this is aimed at kids, but it's also important to teach critical thinking towards kids, because when they grow up they will learn this. Double standards is not okay. The next character we have is the Prince Peacock. So it does show that we do have royalty in the show. He's a bit like Elliot where he just wants to make friends, and I do think he's that sweet. But the other characters were so obnoxious, especially Mr. Beakman. Mr. Beakman was so obnoxious that he didn't even let Prince Peacock have a little word in. It's like his egotism was through the roof. And once again, Muffin was a good character here, because she was actually wanting to be friends with Prince Peacock. And the last character we have is Zigy the parrot from Jamaica. He only appears on the last episode. It's where Samuel's family go on a holiday. So those are the characters from Third Bird. I will say my favorite character of them all is baby Jordan. I think he's pretty cute. However, my least favorite character would be Aunt Esther. I just don't like her Karen personality. So that's all I have today for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's up to you now if you want to watch Third Bird. Have you watched Third Bird before? Let us know in the comments. Do you like Third Bird? Has this video given you nostalgia? Let us know all about it in the comments. Anyways, if you enjoyed video like this, make sure to like, share and subscribe, and hope to see you next time. Thank you and have a lovely day.